A1. Yeah, truly. Cooler and I'm flyer too. Jam. Cooler and I'm flyer too.
Yo. Welcome back to A1 Forever Sports, man. Be generational because it's always time to be, and don't you settle for less because you always can have more with the vision. And with that in mind, I have my man T Will with me today. We're going to have some Braves talk, but we also have a special guest today joining us, and it's a beautiful thing, just networking, doing different things out here. And we have found an author to come on today, strictly from Decatur, Georgia, and also he's a reporter, editor, award-winning photographer, and author of 715 at 50, a book all about hammering Hank Aaron. I'm talking about Mr. Randy Cox. How you doing, sir? Welcome to the show. Uh-oh, he's not frozen, is he? Mr. Cox, can you hear me?
We were just on, man, StreamYard and doing StreamYard stuff. We were literally just on with each other.
Okay.
He might have to drop in and come back.
Let me see what we can do here.
He might have to drop in and come back.
Okay, let me remove him one time. Oh, let me see that. That sucks. We may have to. Man, hey, man, one thing about it, the reason why we even started this late is because, Mother Nature gonna do what she wanted me. I know I had lost some power, and right now I know everything is probably all wonky with the Wi-Fi and everything right now, and it's still like high winds in Georgia. So I'm hoping that he can just back out and come right back in here. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for him to pop back in, man, like I said, this is Mr. Randy Cox, author of 715 at 50. And he basically, man, this guy is a man who was there the night, saying Hank Aaron hit home run 715, and we're definitely going to get his thoughts. And he's going to walk us through that experience. And shoot, man, we're going to have some Hammer and Hank talk. We're going to have some Braves talk. They should be playing tonight. It looks like all things are a go for tonight around 7:20 for when the Braves take on the Royals. And Max Fried will be on the mound tonight. So
Maximus,
we gotta have it. What your thoughts about? What your thoughts about that, Terry?
I mean, wow, man. What a weekend, right? I mean, what a weekend. What a whirlwind week, right? So we got the Braves that were supposed to be playing the Mets, and now it's put on hold. And now we got the Royals, who are also trying to get into the playoffs. And we're playing them, and it's kill or be killed. And then we got the Bulldogs, who are facing the hated Alabama Crimson Tide. And then we got the Falcons facing the Saints. So it's been a different kind of hate week as far as the Braves are concerned. What an environment, man. I mean, this is playoff baseball. I mean,
I think we got Mr. Cox here back. Let me see. We're just going to try it again.
That's good.
See if we can try it again. All right, Mr. Cox, are you there?
How you doing, Mr. Cox? I think you're muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
I think you're muted, Mr. Cox. I think you're muted. We can't hear you.
See if I stop my camera.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Here we go. Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Right.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's all right. It's all right. No problem at all. I want you, sir, please, by all means, to our viewers, and just let them know a little bit more about your background, like who you are. I already told them that, like, you're strictly from Decatur, Georgia, so you're A-town bred as well. I know you used to be a reporter, editor, award-winning photographer. Just, you've had some fun experience. So just please, just by all means, the floor is yours. Let everyone know exactly about Mr. Randy Lewis Cox.
Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. I have been a Braves fan for a long time. Since 1957 was when I was a Cub Scout, and I was watching Hank Aaron and Eddie Matthews playing in the World Series for the Milwaukee Braves against New York Yankees. And we were having a Cub Scout meeting one afternoon, and the World Series came on, and we watched it on our little black and white TV. And years later, in fact, about 2 years ago, I found out that Hank Aaron was an Eagle Scout.
Is that right? Okay. Mr. Cox, are you there? I think you're frozen.
Man, I swear it's just it's
StreamYard.
tough today, man. It's tough today,
StreamYard.
man.
What are we doing, StreamYard? What are we doing? Mr. Cox, are you there?
My experience with Henry Aaron, and the next time personally I got to see him in 1971 when he hit his 600th home run. I was at school, Georgia State, and for a journalism assignment, I chose to go see the Atlanta Braves, and Henry Aaron hit his 600th. I got to actually talk to him, and he said I asked him if he was thinking about 715, and that night he said, "No, I'm just hitting one home run at a time. That's a long way off." So it turned out to be only 3 years later, and I was able to be there at the 715th game in Atlanta, April 8th. And I tell everybody I was lucky to be there, because you choose that game. If he hits it, that's great. If he doesn't hit it, you may not be there the next day.
Right.
Henry Aaron was unnaturally efficient. I mean, he was ready to go that year. He'd had to wait all of the offseason in 73, getting ready to tie the record in 74 at Cincinnati, and which he did on that first game. And they wanted to hold him out, but Bowie Kuhn said, "No, you got to play him more game." So they did. He did not get a hit, and that set up the Monday night game where he did break Babe Ruth's record that night. And man, it was one exciting night. It was cold.
Yes, please walk us through that night. Good.
Yeah,
and also the thoughts going through your mind when you found out that he pretty much was calling his own shot, saying, "I'm gonna go ahead and get it over with."
You know, he really did call his own shots, because in batting practice, his best friends were Dusty Baker and Ralph Garr, and when he was taking batting practice, he told them, he said, "Guys, I'm gonna break the record tonight." So he did it very quietly, and then the first time he got up to first time he swung, which was in his second at bat, he hit it over. So he was ready. He was determined, and he was so glad, because this had been a 2-year kind of an ordeal. I mean, he had a lot of lot of pressure, not only from these fans. It was a small minority of fans that put in hate mail, but he had a lot of pressure from the news media, especially the news media in up in the northern part of the country, to get this thing done. But he did it with flying colors, and everybody was just absolutely ecstatic. And I took a lot of pictures that night. I put them in the book, the 715 at 50 book, and tried to trace everything, all his moves during the game. And we have some other pictures that show his earlier career, and quotes from people like Ron Reed and Buzz Capra, who were the winning and saving pitchers that night. And also Mr. Bob Hope, who was publicity director. He's the one that planned all these games for the Braves, and he had a lot of inside stories, which I hope people will read the book, buy the book and read it, and enjoy some of the behind the scenes things that went on that night. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I've never been in a situation like that, but everything turned out so well. And Hank went on to play 2 more years after that last year at the Braves. He played with the Brewers. And of course, as everybody knows, he ended up with 755 home runs. And we still consider him the home run king. He was great, and such a humanitarian. He helped bring up players in his player development days. He brought up Tom Glavine and Chipper Jones, and of course they were the instrumental in the '95 World Series. So he was a great for the Braves while he was playing and afterwards. He was just a great humanitarian.
Didn't he hire Brian Snitker? I'm sorry. Didn't he hire Brian Snitker, Mr. Cox? I think he did. I want to say he gave Snit was it Snit or Mazzoni? It may have been Leo. It may have been Leo Mazzoni.
Yeah,
I want to say
Leo Mazzoni, man. That was my guy.
Yeah, it may have been Leo Mazzoni. Can you talk us through so that 715? That's in 74. That's like never done before. That had to be all the talk, all the rave.
Mm-hmm.
That game had to be electric, right? So he comes up at the first at bat. He doesn't swing. Can you take us through your emotions as he comes up to the second at bat, and you got to be on the edge of your seat? Take us through your emotions then. Like, what are you thinking? What's going through your mind?
Well, when I was able to get photography classes for myself and my cousin, we were down right behind the Braves dugout on the first base side, and I was concentrating so much on the photographs because I didn't get the photographs. I just have myself to talk about it. So every time he got up to bat, every time he even looked like he was going to swing, I'd take his picture.
Okay.
And it didn't have to wait too long, but it was one of those things where you kind of zone out and you're just concentrating on your job. And but it was I just knew he was going to hit it, because if Downing had gotten him something anywhere close, he was going to get it. And what happened was on the first pitch, or the first time he swung on the second at bat, Downing threw him a nice fastball. It looked like it was going to be something he couldn't hit, but Downing got it just a little bit too close to the plate, and Aaron popped it out. And because and the Atlanta Stadium is the launching pad. All the relief pitchers for the Braves were right behind that left field fence, and they knew somebody was going to catch it. And what I thought was so interesting, Tom House, he was really wanting to catch it and give it to Mr. Aaron, and he did. But Buzz Capra, who was the relief pitcher in that game, he was right next to Tom, and somebody started throwing ice or something at him, and he felt it, and he said, "Tom, switch places." So they switched places, and Tom was right in the spot where he hit the ball over and caught it, and then he ran straight to the dugout and gave it to Henry Aaron, because there had been some problems when he hit the 714th home run in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
A security guard had gotten it, and one of the groundskeepers had come up and got it from him and took it to the umpire. Anyway, Hank Aaron eventually got it, but Tom wanted to be sure that he gave it right to Aaron. Sammy Davis Jr. was right there, and he offered to pay $25,000 for the ball, and Hank's no. So that ball is in the Hank Aaron exhibit kind of history right now, and when that exhibit is over next July, it'll be going back to the Baseball Hall of Fame along with the bat that he used, and it'll be put in the Chasing the Dream exhibit. You know, they got that there with a Hank Aaron statue.
Right.
Hank Aaron and Babe Ruth are the only two ball players that have their own exhibit in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And
so when I ask you in a week, T. Will, when I ask you that question in a week, T. Will, you know, for a pop quiz, you know, you got to make sure you know this now. I'm gonna be quizzing T. Will, Mr. Cox. I'm gonna be quizzing him.
I'm just gonna reach back out to Mr. Cox and get a refresher. I'll be ready for it. So.
No cheating.
Well, here's the cover.
I love it.
We've got all kinds of pictures in here. All kinds of pictures.
No, seriously, some beautiful pictures. You did some wonderful photography work.
I love it.
It's wonderful photography work. I have a question for you though, Mr. Cox. Can you just illustrate the aura and just the personality of who Bob Hope really was?
Personality of Mr. Bob Hope.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he is one of the nicest guys I have ever met. I got to interview him extensively for a whole chapter that's in the book, and he is just a guy that just wonderful humanitarian, and he was really Hank Aaron's best friend. And when I interviewed him, asked him what was the thrill of his career, and that's what he said, being Hank Aaron's best friend. So that tells you a little bit about his personality, and he was just so cooperative and just a great guy.
I didn't know that. Wow. Okay, that's something. So there were two gentlemen. Because I mean, I can see I've seen it over and over and over and over again. My dad was a big Hank Aaron fan, and of course he, you know, when Barry Bonds broke the record, he was like, no. So my question to you is, when those two fans jumped up on the field and they're running the bases with him, what was your initial feeling? And secondly, did you get photographs of that as well as he's rounding the bases?
Actually, I did. In my position, I wasn't able to get photographs of those two guys, because I got the picture of him hitting the ball, and then as he was running around, I was trying to get out close to where I could get out on the field.
Gotcha.
Of course, they came up at second base, and they were patting him on the back. But what Bob Hope and Ron Reed described in the book is that these guys were in a lot of danger, because nobody knew what they were going to do.
Right.
Hank Aaron had a bodyguard. His name was Calvin Laidlaw, and he had his hand on his pistol. He was the bodyguard. And if those guys had shown any kind of disrespect or tried to push him or anything,
they were going to go down.
They could have been in a lot of trouble, but they were just wanting to pat him on the back, and everything turned out well. Of course, they had to go to jail for a couple of hours.
Of course.
And Hank Aaron got with them a couple of times after, through the years. One of them has passed away. The other one is a retired ophthalmologist, and I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I did make an effort to try to talk to him, but I guess he didn't want to talk about it. But he was quoted as saying that this was just a spur of the moment thing that they did. It's just a spur of the moment. And Bob Hope said the reason the security, they weren't watching for somebody to jump on the field. They were all watching, trying to protect the celebrities and everything else. So it's one of those classic things, but everything turned out okay. And everybody was so excited at the plate when Aaron passed. There was a gentleman. His name is Floyd Gilson. He's passed away, but he took a picture for the Journal that showed the plate when Aaron came through, and I was able to reproduce it in the book. And it has everybody close to the Mr. Aaron, Ron Reed. He was real tall, of course, right next to him. And I was actually over to the side. I was able to pick myself out because I was taking pictures, and I got a little arrow pointing to me. So hey, that's me. I was there.
Yeah, I seen it, man. I also saw too that you actually had the pleasure to interview pitcher Ron Reed, and I wanted to know a little bit about that as well, like that personality. How did that interview strike you? Just information about that, without giving too many details from the book, of course.
Yeah, he was a fount of information because he had shared some inside stories, and there was a rumor going around that there was some snipers on the roof to protect Aaron and the other players, but we don't think that was true. But there was a rumor going around, and Ron Reed, he's about 6'6", and he was one of the first ones that got to him to give him a hug and congratulate him. And he was so excited because after the game, since Capra saved the game for him, he'll go. He lives in Lilburn. He lives in Lilburn, Georgia, right near me. And when people say, "Were you in that game?" he said, "Yeah, I was the winning pitcher." And he was so excited about that. And they got to go back for the 50th anniversary this year, and with Billy Aaron and the Aaron family, and they had a great 50th anniversary and celebrated the great feat. It's just so bad that Hank Aaron couldn't be here, but he was there in spirit, and people loved him. They really did love him, and he'll be remembered for a long, long time.
I think it's interesting that this happened to Hank Aaron because it could not have happened to a better person. From every account, from everyone that I've spoken to, from all of the research that I've done, very humble man, very kind man, very patient man, very loyal man.
Exactly.
It's interesting. Even the year that he passed, and there's no way you can't tell me that Hank wasn't looking out for us. Even the year that he passed, which is 2021, which is the same year we won the World Series. We won 44 games in the first half and 44 games in the second half.
In the second half.
That's and there was one other stat because Don Simpson referenced it. I think it was home runs or whatever. And Don was like, but Freddie messed it up. So not Don Simpson. Oh gosh, Don, what's the other announcer? He's been with us for years. Does radio now. Anyway, he referenced it being a tie back to Hank Aaron's home run or something like that. But my point is he is inexorably linked to the Braves. And even from beyond, I still feel like Hank was pulling for us. I just think that was a great year, tremendous man. My question for you is there was another gentleman who played in the Japanese league, Mr. Sadahara O, who is credited for hitting, I believe, 868 or something home runs. Did he and Hank ever get a chance to meet?
They did. I think it was a couple of years after Hank had retired. He went over to Japan, and they hit some home runs. I forgot exactly if they had a little contest. I think they both did pretty well because they were still, maybe in their 40s. I think Hank was 41 or 42 when he retired, but he did get to meet him, and they were very good. They became very good friends, and were able to swap a lot of cool stories, I'm sure, because Hank had a ton of stories that his favorite moment, probably other than the 715, was in 57. When he was, they were playing, it was the last game of the season, I think it was, and he hit a walk-off home run to clinch the pennant for Milwaukee. And, in his mind, he was probably thinking about the 1951 shot heard around the world, Bobby Thompson with the Giants. The Giants win the pennant, and he actually played with Bobby Thompson. In fact, that's how he got in the starting lineup with the Braves in 52. Bobby Thompson had broken his ankle, so Hank Aaron replaced him on the starting lineup. And then later in the year, Hank had hurt his foot, and Bobby Thompson had replaced back on him. So,
yeah,
it goes around, comes around. It was just amazing.
Crazy.
The story. Yeah. I just love talking about Hank Aaron.
I'm gonna tell you
so many cool stuff.
Nah, seriously, I'm gonna tell you something else that we're lucky about. Man, we're lucky we was able to outbid the New York Giants because they could have had Willie Mays and Hank Aaron. So I'm glad we was able to outbid them, so to speak, because man, that could have been crazy.
I wish we had gotten Willie Mays. Can you imagine Willie and Hank in the outfield with the Braves in Milwaukee and Atlanta?
Well, we're talking about the greatest. We're talking about the greatest outfield to do it. It doesn't even matter who else is out there. You got Willie and Hank out there already. That would have been something else.
Yeah, and Willie was great, and they were really good friends.
You said they were really good friends.
Right. Yeah, Hank and Willie were good friends, and Willie was he was a little more flamboyant than Hank was, especially in the outfield. Hank just did stuff so easily, Willie. I mean, he was great. He was great, but a little bit more flamboyant, and he really. He missed out a year for. I think he was in the Army for a year, but he could have been. And he was already 660 home runs in his career, but he could have been up there pretty close to him. But he was a great guy too, and we're sorry that he passed away just a few months ago now. So,
yeah, yes, sir.
Good guy, Willie Mays. Yeah, he was a great guy.
My dad loved him. My dad and I had this ongoing. I'll call it a discussion. Disagreement. I'll call it a disagreement because he saw Willie Mays. He loved Willie Mays. Okay. My dad loved Willie Mays. I saw Andrew Jones. I loved Andrew Jones. So we would go back and forth because I was like, Dad, I didn't see Willie Mays, but I see Andrew Jones last night. Matter of fact, he made the Spider-Man. I never saw Willie Mays make it. And then my dad was like, well, let me tell you something. He made an over the shoulder catch in the World Series. So wait, was that in the World Series?
It was. Yes, I believe it was.
Because he that was his point. He was like, Andrew Jones did it, but it wasn't in the World Series, son. Willie Mays did it when it mattered most. It made me so mad. But yeah, he loved, oh my God, he loved Willie Mays. He really did. Loved Hank Aaron, loved Willie Mays. I tell you who else he loved. My dad loved Bob Gibson for
what a pitcher he was.
Oh yeah, man. Bob would knock you down. Bob would knock you down in a minute. That was in the days when you hit a home run and you apologize on the on the
Thing about Bob Gibson. Hank Aaron had done okay. He done okay with Gibson, but there were some times that Gibson could get him out, and Hank was very apprehensive about hitting against Gibson, but he could get a run here and there, but other times he got stymied by Gibson.
Hey, Gibson was the truth.
I wanted to tell you a quick story about Willie. I was telling you the night that Henry Aaron hit his 600th home run, they were playing the Giants. And in fact, Ron Reed was pitching that night. And it was a tied game, and they went into the last part of I think it was the top of the ninth, and Willie Mays got a hit. He got an RBI, and that won the game for San Francisco. So Aaron, again, he was happy he hit his 600th, but he was a little bit down because they lost the game. He was
lost the game.
And for 7-15, he in the press conference he said, I was glad to hit 7-15, but I was even more glad that we won the game, that we beat the Dodgers 7-4. So he was a team man. He was a team man, but the players loved him. All the players loved him, and he was just a great guy. I was just happy that I got to meet him those 2 times. And I always cherish those memories. I got to shake his hand and everything. So it was nice. It was real nice.
Man,
good guy.
That's beautiful, beautiful time.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out, were you able to sleep after 7:15? Like just that night, all the excitement and everything. I know you probably still had things you had to do and everything.
Well,
but could you sleep that night?
I was okay. I was in a I was at a newspaper 90 miles away from the stadium. I was in Lynette, Alabama. So we drove back. We got back about 1 or 2 in the morning, and I had to, of course, get all the pictures together and the stories. I probably got about 2 hours sleep that night, and then got up early because we wanted to be sure to get the best picture on the front page, which was the home run. Then not a lot of papers in Alabama sent photographers. They relied on the wire services. So I was one of the few sports editors in Alabama to come to the game, and the next day, the Tuesday paper, to put them in the paper. And that was kind of a feather in our cap.
That was a strategic move.
A little bit of bragging rights for a while, anyway.
Well, no, for sure. No, for sure. Because you was taking that extra step that others weren't taking. You know, not everybody's wants to get up and do the work. And sir, you got up and did the work day in and day out. And I mean, and look now, you have a wonderful book. You have wonderful memories with one of the greatest, if not the greatest, to ever do it. So it's just salute to you.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, can you put the book info in the chat so our fans can see it and know where to purchase it?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, and also it's being published by Summer Game Books, where you can get free shipping. And we have enjoyed meeting a lot of the fans at Truist Park, and we also took a tour the Midwest this summer and went to some other baseballism stores and met some Cardinals fans and Milwaukee, and talked to them about the book, and enjoyed being in the other parks. And this is something that a lot of people can definitely relate to with their even if they weren't there, their mother or father might have been there, or their cousin, or somebody told them about it. So it's a story that I think every baseball player will enjoy, and I certainly enjoyed putting it together, and appreciate all the fans that have been out there and have bought the book. And I appreciate y'all having me on and letting me ramble on, because I can talk about Hank Aaron about all day.
We're here for it. No, hey, we appreciate you being here. We're here for it. I have a question for you. I know that I myself, guys, growing up watched a lot of Braves. But I watched a lot of Skip Carey, and I love Skip Carey. I love Donnie Simpson. I love the professor. I can't think of his name, but
Pete Van Wieren.
Yeah, Pete Van Wieren.
Yeah,
when they passed, it really hurt me, because that's a part of your childhood that you can't. I don't know if I can explain it, but it's really like losing a family member. When Skip passed, I'm not gonna lie, I cried real tears. Like that hurt me. And I would have to imagine that it probably had to be that way for you when Mr. Aaron passed. Can you kind of talk through what that was like for you?
Oh, it really was. And when I heard the news, I had called the original the Valley Times News, which is the paper I was working for 50 years ago, and was a sports editor. And I asked them, would it be possible if I could write a little eulogy? And they said, well, I tell you what, we'll get get the sports editor to give you a call. And he interviewed me and let me talk a little bit about the way I had felt about Hank Aaron. And after the home run, when I went back work, and a lot. This was during, of course, the baseball season had just started. All the little leagues were playing, and I got calls from West Point, Georgia, Lynette, Alabama, and they all wanted me to come out and talk to the little leaguers, and they wanted to all shake my hand because that was the hand that shook Hank Aaron's hand, and it was heartwarming that they felt so. I can just mental picture of going to those dugouts and talking to those little guys, and it was definitely an inspiration to a lot of them, and I really enjoyed doing that. And I didn't get to see him again after the 7th to 15th, but some of my friends did, and one of them even got me an autograph that I always keep, and it's actually in the book too. So, but it's been an experience, and well, I tell you, it was just a wonderful feeling, and positive all the way for me. Really good feeling.
I bet it was. Again, Hank is a rarity in that in most cases, when you see something, they say the deed described the man. In other words, this guy did this, but what he did was bigger. But if you know anything about Hank, you'd know the man described the deed. He took everything in stride. The adversity that he faced coming up to that home run, the hate, the media, a lot of folks, it might have taken them out of their character, but it did not do it for him.
Yeah.
And again, I just, it's like you're taking me back, because I've been a Braves fan for 45 years. Right? You've been one for probably 60 or something. But I mean, it's just, Mr. Cox, just hearing that it's from someone who clearly loves the Braves, right? I'm feeling some kind of way about that, because I just, I just remember everything that I know about Hank is that from start to finish, he was always positive, always willing to listen. There's so many players that credit him. Dusty Baker, you referenced, went on to be a great manager, has openly said, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Hank. I would not be here if it wasn't for Hank.
That's right.
I think Brian Snitker, if Hank didn't hire him, he reported to him, and Hank was really there for him in the beginning. Well, he was there for him the entire time, but really kind of mentored him and showed him the way in the beginning of his career. So in a lot of ways, Hank Aaron is still giving back to the Braves. I don't know that there's another figure. Yeah. I don't know that there's another figure.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Just think of all the many people that he's affected through his years. Even, back in the 50s and 60s, he was a role model, and on through the years where he helped the players out. He was a role model for the players and some of the other folks in baseball. So he affected a lot of folks, and there's very few people that have affected that many.
She definitely affected Joe Torre and Felipe Alou.
Yep.
Yeah, he was definitely a great role model.
I got a question, man. Let's talk about.
Yeah.
Right.
You cut out, Chris. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure No, we're fine. I was just going to ask you, how do you feel about the current Atlanta Braves and the state that they're in right now?
Oh man. Well, I'm optimistic. I'm a little optimistic, but
we back.
Yeah, there's so many factors that the injuries and the weather, and I mean it's one of those mountains that you're trying to climb. But I'm hoping that things will work out this weekend. I know they got to play the Royals, and then Monday was the Mets. So we just got to hope that they bring everything into the game, pitching and everything. And but we're we're not in as bad a shape as we could have been because with all those injuries, we could just about be in last place. But Brian's trying to get everything together, and we'll just be in there rooting for him starting tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, definitely gonna be rooting for him tonight. I've never seen a team have so many injuries in a season and still have the opportunity to still make the playoffs. I've been watching sports for a long time. Both of you gentlemen have been watching sports longer than me, so it's just like I've never seen it. I've never seen a team be decimated with so many significant key injuries and still have the ability to still possibly make the playoffs. This Braves team make this playoffs. That's another reason why they're so dangerous, because they're really not supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is. I've never seen anything like it, but I think the way things are set up now, with the general manager, Alex Anthopoulos, is really, really good at trying to get folks, like some of the free agents. I guess years ago, if you had, back in the 60s or 70s, if you had a star that was knocked out, you just had to put in anybody that you had on the bench. You weren't able to do that because they didn't have the free agency, but they got stuff now where some players have maybe been off for a year and really on any team, or they're on the, let's say they might be on the minor league team. I know Braves have gotten a couple of guys, so it's a little easier to do that, but still you've got to find the right ones. And they brought in Laureano and Merrifield. Of course, he got hurt too, and
isn't that something?
Unreal the way things are happening.
He got hurt the night we signed him. He got hurt. He
twice
up for practice, and then he got hurt.
He got hurt in practice for the game.
It's crazy. Then he gets hit in the head, right, and he's out with that. Right. Then he comes back and takes a foul ball off his foot. That's 3 times. Like that in bait. That's basically been our season. That's crazy, man. That's.
I don't mean to laugh at him, but that is. It's ironic that happened. It's one of those things. I always talk about Murphy's Law. Whatever wrong can happen, will happen.
Will happen. Yeah.
If the Braves were able to come up and win the World Series this year, I'd say it would be tantamount to the 1991 or 95 Miracle Braves, because they've had so many problems, but you do what you got to do,
Yeah.
And we'll see how they do. There'll be an interesting weekend,
Yeah. Well,
you got to.
Mr. Cox, some would say we did win. I mean, clearly Herbeck threw Ron Gant off that base in 91. I know you remember that. I know you remember the first baseman throwing Ron Gant in 91 off first base. Remember that?
Well, Sid Bream.
No. The Twins first baseman throwing
Twins.
Off first base. You remember that? Yeah. Yeah, because he threw him off the base.
I was at the 5th game that we won.
Okay.
That we went back to Minnesota, but I wasn't too thrilled about that 7th game.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We should have won that. We should have won that. We should have.
Yeah, in fact, I was
watching the game. I can watch the game on YouTube now. I don't even like it.
Yeah,
papers that I had saved and I was going to read up, because that's been about 35 years ago.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's been a while. I remember it like it was yesterday. And baseball truly is a game of inches. If Lonnie Smith does not get deked going to second base, we win that World Series. But I mean, what was his Knobloch? I think was it, and he deked him. Meaning he acted like he couldn't catch the ball, and it just caused him to slow up a little bit where he couldn't score. So it's crazy, man. But yeah, we should have won that one in 91. We got it in 95. We should have who is it? Wohlers. Right. You shouldn't have thrown that split finger.
Had a couple of in the early 2000s.
No, well,
Yeah.
to
Like you
be
say,
honest
it's a
with
game
you.
of
Oh
inches.
that 96 hurt.
Yeah,
96 hurt.
because
Man.
we're up
I went to
we're up 2-0. You were at that game?
I was
Wow.
at the third. I think I was at the second game. I'd have to look it up, but I was able to buy a ticket pretty easily for that game. The other games, you look like a bunch of scalpers were out there. They used to have scalpers.
Yep.
Yeah, I got some games for that.
Yeah.
Tickets rather.
But
it's been a whirlwind with the Braves and starting in '91, and then the so many years they won the division. Of course, we didn't win it this year, but I love it that they're always up there. It's always looking forward, and we just hope for the best for them this weekend, and hopefully they'll
come. Be pulling for them.
Definitely.
We have Max Fried going on the mound, Maximus Fried. So hopefully we get the Maximus part of him, and he's going out there being an ace. I know he's 10-10 this year. At one point in time, he was one of the hottest pitchers, I believe, in the league. And hopefully we can, rekindle that, and the Braves can get some of this camaraderie going into the playoffs, because like I was telling T. Will in the conversation we were having, I was like, really, since the Dodgers series, I feel like the bats have been better, but it's a possibility. It's because this lineup, what I'm saying, outside of Ozzie Albies coming back, this lineup is kind of been together, what I'm saying, now. It's kind of like been together like the longest as far as chemistry goes, because guys have been in and out of the lineup, and you still have Austin Riley back there somewhere, who we still don't know what's going to happen with him. So, and just so many injuries.
Got hurt. I think I saw where he got hurt yesterday, so I'm not sure about his status either.
Wait, who?
Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman got hurt.
Freeman. Mm-hmm. I thought it was one of our other Braves. I was like, God, no, please don't. No, not another one. Okay. Okay.
We don't need any more injuries.
Yeah, you scared me, Mr. Cox. You scared me. Mr. Cox, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this. Now, I know what your number one is. It's obviously Hank Aaron's home run, 715. But other than that, give me your top two favorite moments as a Braves fan.
Well, I got to tell you, the early moment was when Hank Aaron hit the home run in '57 that won the pennant. Okay. That was his Bobby Thompson moment.
Okay.
And the other time was when my dad and I went to the first, I think it was the first exhibition game before the Braves moved from Milwaukee. The Atlanta Crackers played in the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in '65. Yep. The Braves came down and played an exhibition game, I believe, against St. Louis. And Hank Aaron hit a home run. Then, of course, it was just an exhibition game, but we were so excited that these folks were coming down, but then we had to wait a year because of that litigation in Milwaukee. They kept them up there a year. Right. But when he came down, and this was the first early days of the launching pad in Fulton County Stadium, and Atlanta had got their first major league team before the Falcons and the Hawks. So that was so incredibly exciting that we had a major league team. The only thing about it was the Braves were not very good from 66 to 91. In fact, Bob Hope wrote a book called We Could Have Lost Without You. And it
I like it.
Losing the season.
I love it.
25 years of the Braves until they started back, But then
except,
we had
except for 82. They won in 82. They made the playoffs. Now I remember that. But outside of that, you're right. They were, they were. You couldn't give away Braves tickets back in the day. So
In fact, in 73,
dang, you
was trying to, get up to 715. There was maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people in the stand. That's all that they had. And he tied. He got to 713 at the end of 73 season, and then the next season, of course, was the 74 season, and then we finally got some people to come to the stands and see the record-breaking home run, and then after that happened, the attendance went down again. In fact, the management wanted Hank Aaron to wait a game or two, just maybe get some doubles, or whatever, and maybe get the home run on the third game. That way they'd have all these attendance. But that didn't happen. Hank Aaron did it on the first swing. So it was
because he wanted to get it out the way.
Probably did.
Oh yeah, he was big time.
Mr. Cox, we got a question for you. We got a question in the chat for you right here. It said, okay, so can you the Dixon Way, Larry of the Dixon Way, shout out to. He says, can you ask Mr.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that for me?
You cut out. I'm gonna read it for you. It says, can you ask Mr. Cox
that era didn't win another World Series after both left?
Hey, Chris, I'm going to repeat it for you because you kind of cut out. It says, can you ask Mr. Cox if Freddie leaving the Braves?
So basically, he wants to know, does Freddie Freeman leaving equal Dave Justice?
I think he's got latency. So, Mr. Cox, I'm sorry, Chris, we kind of heard you were kind of choppy. So I'm going to repeat it for you. He says, can you ask Mr. Cox if Freddie leaving the Braves equals Dave Justice leaving the Braves? More so, both were the heart and soul of the team, and that era didn't win another World Series after both left. Do you see what it's so he's saying it? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Interesting question. I've never thought about that. And it's, I guess, a feeling of continuity. We did win the 95 series, but 96, we were back there, but we didn't win it.
Right.
So we won the 21 World Series with Freddie, and then now we're 2 years after. But like I said, we got Matt Olson, who did wonderful last year. This year he's had a not quite a good a year as last year, but there's a possibility that we could come up this year. But that's a good point about Dave Justice, and of course he got the winning home run in the 95 series. But
yeah, he did. Yes, he did.
The way things work nowadays is,
I never forget it.
If you win a World Series, sometimes you might get traded. A player might get traded the next year. Hank Aaron hit his 715th, and he got traded the next year. But of course, he was 39 years old.
Yeah. So
but,
that's
a good question, though.
It was different. It was a difference.
Yeah. I think Dave Justice got traded for Kenny Lofton. I know it was Dave Justice and Marquise Grissom who got traded for Kenny Lofton and a pitcher I can never remember. And I don't think Kenny fit in because he was here for one season and then they traded him. So
yeah.
So
we never know how things are going. I think Freddie turned out that he wanted to kind of go home too with LA. That was his home, and he's done well over there. And I hope if we get in the playoffs and we play them, I certainly hope we're able to beat them, but it's going to be tough.
Mr. Cox, I think if let me be honest. Our team has the best ERA in the league. So if we make the playoffs, all bets are up. Like I'll take us up. There's no one out there that I'm afraid of. Even the Phillies, if we make the playoffs, we have the horses to go up against them. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that at all. Chris, I did have one for you because I think it's important as fans that we capture this. Chris, what are your top 5 or top 4 moments as a Braves fan that you can remember?
Well, man, I'm definitely going to go for
I would say the 715. 715's got to be the top. Yeah. The 600 was one for me. The one with Sid Bream sliding in home plate. Everybody's going to remember that for the 91.
Yes.
Yeah.
Braves win, Braves win, Braves win, Braves win. Yes.
And then it was so funny. The 95 World Series, I was working at the Department of Agriculture downtown, and I had walked down to the stadium to get seats, to get tickets, and the big line, of course. That's where they had the stuff on the line. So I got up there, and they had sold out everything but the 7th game of the World Series, which would have been played in Atlanta. The only problem is we played Cleveland and we beat them in 6 games. Mm-hmm. So that was a disappointment, but I was just glad that they won in the 6th game, because that was we had waited so long.
Yes, we did. Yes,
91 when we were in the series. And even then, 66. So that 6th game was great, and the parade right by where I was working. I got to see Glavine and all those people. So
I still remember. I'm sorry, I still remember Skip Carey's call, Mr. Cox, when he goes, "Grissom on the run." Yes. The Atlanta Braves are giving you a championship. I will never forget that as long as I live. I will never forget those words, because to your point, it had been so long. We lost in 91. We got creamed in 92, the strike in 94. And in 95, when it happened again, I cried real tears. It was a release for some folks. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, right? I will never forget where I was when it happened. And I'm thankful I got a chance to experience it. For me, my top 4 moments, obviously, well, I'll do 5. Obviously, Hank Aaron, number 1, 7-15. The 92, like you said, Sid Bream, because I watched that game against the Pirates, and it was such a struggle.
Everybody was just going nuts.
Such a struggle, right? And when was it Frankie Cabrera? I think it was Francisco Cabrera hit that ball, and Sid comes chugging home, and you can see him just giving it all, and he slides. I'm at a party and the place we just go stupid. Like, you literally see 30 people jump up all at once. It was great. That's probably my number 2 moment. For me, number 3, there was a game maybe 12 years ago. We're playing the Reds. We're 10 runs down, right? We're 10 runs down. And we come back to beat them. And the thing I can't remember his name, short little second baseman, but he hit a home run. He doesn't realize that it goes over the fence. So he stops at first base like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. And then they tell him, no, you got to run. You just hit a home run. It was hilarious. it was hilarious. It was classic, right? And then, right. And then of course the last one for me, the 2021 World Series, where the ball gets hit to Dansby and Ozzy's supposed to be in second place. I don't know what Ozzy's doing. So Dansby looks at Osby. He's like, all right, I got to go to first. He throws it to first and it's out. And like, you just see everybody, I loved it, man. So those were my top 4.
Oh yeah.
Those were definitely my top 4. Yeah. That was, I'll never forget that. I will never forget that.
They have gotten so many great moments.
Yes.
I had to choose
joy to the Atlanta Braves country.
And my
Braves country goes all United States. They're everywhere. You'll see them at the ballparks. They love the Braves. The 151 years that they've been in business, since Boston and Milwaukee, and now Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And we've managed to win 1 World Series in Boston, 1 in Milwaukee, and we've won 2 in Atlanta. And we're going to go for number 3 this year.
Yep.
And I hope we make it.
Yep. I hope so. I mean, I got a good feeling if we can get in there, Mr. Cox. I got a good feeling. If we can get there, that's a lot.
I do too.
Yeah, I had a great feeling.
We'll be pulling for them,
guys. We're gonna be the most dangerous team in the playoffs if we make it, because again, we're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, we got some really good Braves fans, and they just look forward to the spring training. And in fact, we went down a couple of years ago, and people like to go down and watch them on spring training. You get to see some of the players develop and follow them through the years. The summer's a long 162 games, and then it gets down to the last weekend, and you don't even know if you're going to get in the playoffs. So it's a rough time, but we'll see how it goes. I hope they do great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all having me and talking about the Braves. I love to talk about them.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Man, we're gonna have to definitely do this again, Mr. Cox. So thank you for taking time out of your day to, so your relaxing day to, have this talk with us. Come on and share your experiences, and definitely your experience with the Braves. You've been a Braves fan for quite some time, and I definitely have learned some things myself just by having this interview with you. So thank you again.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show, and love talking with you, and I'll be glad to talk to you anytime you want to give me a holler. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
No problem at
Thank
all.
you.
We'll be glad to have you.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh man, what
yes, sir. That
was great, man.
Randy
I love it. I love it. I love it. It just, bro, that was my childhood. That was me and my dad watching the games, man. I mean, that was great, man. That was great. It took me back. That was great. Yeah. Definitely took me back.
No, it really was. It really was. Again, I've learned so much, myself, and I'm glad, T. Will, I was able to have you on here because I know that you're a big Braves fan and you've been watching the Braves longer than me as well. So I definitely, feel like we had a nice mesh of different generation of Braves fans here, man. And it just was something nice to have for the Braves, for the Braves country and the Braves faithful. So, but we're about to get ready to get up out of here, though. What you got?
I wish we could get Dixon Way on here. I wish we could, because let me tell you something. Dixon Way is just as passionate about it as we. Every time we just always miss him, and I hate it. We gotta get Dixon Way on one of these shows, man, because I think it would be great.
It's gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen.
Dixon Way, if you out there, man,
we be doing the shows, man. He be getting ready for a show.
I know, man. I know, but Dixon Way, we got to make this happen, man. This is, bro. Because he says so much of what I feel. You know what I mean? Like I would love to get him on a show and let's just talk Braves and maybe look, Dixon. I know you're busy, man. We got to make this happen, bro. We got 5 games left. We got to make this happen. Come on, Dixon Way. Hit us up, man. We got to do it, man. We got to do a show. I know you're busy. I know you do 12,000 sports. I know you cover everybody.
Hey, man.
Dixon Way, we got to make this happen, man.
One of the hardest working families in show business.
Bro, that is a hard working family. You're right. But, bro, the thing I love, he says what I think, right? Like he says what I'm thinking so many times. And it just grieves me that it would be great to have him on the show. Like I wish we could. So Dixon Way, if you're out there, man, come on, man. Let's make this happen, dude. We gotta have at least before, we don't know if we're gonna make the playoffs. Hopefully.
Man, we're making the playoffs. I'm saying it right now. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. I'll just eat crow. But I don't think I'm wrong. I think the Braves are gonna get into these playoffs. Everything has just gone wrong for them. They've been resilient all year long. We get into these playoffs, we're gonna start smacking heads between the washer and dryer. So I'm just ready to get it. I'm telling you, man, I have faith in my Braves now. I got faith in my Braves. It's just like because we're not supposed to be in this situation, and for us to be in this situation at this chance, we get into these playoffs, man, people get punched in the mouth.
Bro, we gotta do it. We gotta do it. Come on, Braves. Come on, Braves. We need you. We need these 5 games, Braves. Let's go. Hey, another interesting thing, Chris. San Diego and Arizona play each other tonight, I believe. So San Diego can help us out. Now, the only thing about it is I think they are 3 behind Philly, right? Or 4 behind Philly. They're 3 behind No, they're 4 behind the Dodgers. They're 3 behind Philly. So if Philly loses tonight, it gives San Diego something to play for, which is the second best record and a bye game. If Philly loses tonight, then maybe they don't. I mean, I don't know, but I'm hoping that San Diego can take 2 of 3 or maybe even sweep the Diamondbacks, and then it's not an issue, right? But this weekend, Chris, this weekend is going to be bananas, man. You know, we got because it's must-see TV every night. We got the Braves for 3, right? We got the Braves and the Royals that are playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got the Dogs that are playing tomorrow. They're playing the hated Alabama Crimson Tide. And then we got the Saints Falcons Sunday. And then on Monday, oh yeah, we get bonus baseball, and it could be like sudden death, dude. I mean, bro, all this excitement, I don't know what to do with myself, Chris. Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. So I'm here for it, bro.
Hey, man.
I'm hoping we can pull it out, Chris. I'm nervous. I gotta be. I'm
just strap in and get ready. Just strap in and we're gonna pull it off, man. We're gonna get ready for. Yeah, man, we're gonna get ready for this, man. And I believe, you know, the Royals, they're fighting for a playoff position too, so we gotta take them seriously. And we gotta I believe we gotta take care of business with the Royals. We gotta at least take 2 out of 3 at least. But I would like to sweep them and go into Monday with heavy momentum for whatever we may possibly have to face. And hopefully maybe somebody will do a job for us and it won't have to be so bad. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But either way it goes, man.
We need to get Pandemic to say that, because, you know, when he says something, it typically happens. So everything that you said, we need to get
we're going to call him up after the show. We're going to call him after the show. Don't worry. But E-Man, now get on camera and say this.
We need you to do it, buddy. We need you to do it. Hey, because ever since he talked about Matt Olson,
Falcon Pandemic, man.
Definitely. Yeah. Shout out to him and Ray J, man. But yeah, no, Chris, I understand. You know, it's 2:07 and I know we got to go, man. So if you will allow me, I'd like to do my shout outs and then we can roll up out of here. So first off, shout out to everyone who joined us. Yes, sir. Shout out to everyone who joined us. Definitely Dixon Way. Definitely Debo Vibes. Definitely, yeah. I think, and Birdcage. So thank you guys for joining us, giving us some of your time today. Really appreciate it. Want to shout out to God. Would not be here without him. I am, of course, T. Will. I am a podcast analyst for One Time for the Fan. So you can reach, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. I also have my own channel at For My ATL Sports 1 on YouTube. You can also feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, I got to give all my teammates some credit. So, you know, Mr. Jack Spade, my mentor, Carrie, Bodie 3000, got to give them some love. Obviously, got to give Chris A1, Pandemic, and RJ, my Braves podcasters. We're on a podcast together for the Braves, so got to give them some love. Last but not least, got to shout out to Miss Lisa Shepard, Mr. Jabri Harper, and Miss Tiff Rames. And she is on my Falcon show Friday night, which you guys can see at For My ATL Sports 1 at 7:30. And last but not least, Chris, got to show you some love. Chris does all my video, guys. So, you know, if you don't know how to do videos or whatever, you need to get him in your life, man. Dude's great. He's awesome. Does my video, does my music. Basically could not do my show without him. So if he's not doing your video, you got to ask yourself why. Chris, thank you so much for having me, bro. I appreciate it. As long as you keep inviting me, I will keep coming back. And I'm going to defer to you, sir. Go right ahead. Chris, you there?
Well, first of all, even without me, sir, you definitely could still do your show. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Just bear with me, man. You know, Mother Nature still doing her thing.
Understood.
We had over 49, close to 50 eyes on this today for Mr. Randy Lewis at 50. All about our Hammer and Hank Aaron. And RIP to him and shout out to him because he changed so many lives.
Yes, sir. Yes, he did. Chris, you're kind of cutting out. Damn you, StreamYard. Chris, you're
Yeah, I
cutting
know
out.
it, man. Yeah, man. StreamYard. Yeah, StreamYard just doing this thing, man. My apologies.
Damn you, StreamYard.
Last thing I'm just gonna say is thank you to everybody. Forever Sports is now across the 1,500 mark, and I just want to thank all my day ones and all my new supporters. We're going to keep on rolling this thing and continue growing this channel. Thank you so very much, and we're going to keep bringing you content.
Yes, sir. And you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve everything, Chris. You're doing it. All good.
Yep. But until then, peace and blessings to y'all.
Go Braves. Let's go.
A1. Yeah, truly. Cooler and I'm flyer too. Jam. Cooler and I'm flyer too.
I guess.
Man, you were doing good in this